out part 2.
Today we're uncovering a $500 million Ponzi scheme called Trader's Domain. In part 1, we exposed a web of scammers. We found an ongoing government investigation. But as I spoke to victims, I realized there was someone behind the curtains controlling it all.
And that's when I find out there's this one guy named Ted who's making all the trades and he's running this Ponzi scheme.
Teddy.
We now learn of this savant that is the man behind Trader's Domain. And so this is the first time I ever hear the name Ted Safranco. And I'm like, who the freak is Ted? Who's
About
Ted?
to find out who the
That
freak
is the
Ted
multi-million dollar
Franco
question.
is.
And I decided the best place to look for answers was starting with the victims. Welcome to part 2.
My understanding of who Ted Safranco was at the time I invested was an experienced trader.
He's a master trader with relationships like this all over the world, and he was internationally known and respected.
Very credible Wall Street trader. I know that's bad to, judge a book judge a book off of their cover, but he just looked like, like a normal guy, like a Wall Street trader. He didn't seem like the type of guy that would mess you over.
But looking into his real past, everything showed
Mess
the
you over.
opposite. He didn't work on Wall Street. He got his start in 2016 when he was the student of a 23-year-old get-rich-quick guru on Instagram named Nino Koroff. We know this because of a testimonial he filmed.
Hi everyone, my name is Ted. I've been working around right now with Nino for probably about 6 months. Really what I did is, for 2016, what I tried to do is I really wanted to set myself up nice. Being a little bit older, I've been working for many years now, almost 15 years. I wanted to have a lifestyle change. I wanted to get into something different to give myself a better opportunity in life. And literally, I went through social media, found Nino on Instagram. I sort of laughed actually because I saw him with his Lambo and all his fun stuff. And me being as old as I am now, maybe 37 years old, 36 years old, I couldn't really fathom how somebody was doing what they were doing at such a young age.
Wow. The answer, of course, to Ted's question is that Nino was scamming people with get-rich-quick courses, and Ted soon figured this out. He started his own grift called the Forex Family
Maybe I should
Course,
start
which
scamming
eventually
people.
led to the launch of his
A
very
lot of
own
fucking
Forex
money.
brokerage called Trader's Domain. Ted said that it would be non-manipulated, as opposed to most of the scammy brokerages of the time. And with his business partner, David Negus, they opened their doors in 2018.
Negus and
I found this
Teddy.
out because I talked to the roommate at the time who witnessed everything.
So my name's Jonathan Semeta. I was roommates with David Negus at the start of 2018, pretty much for the whole duration of the year. And I witnessed the inception of Trader's Domain from the beginning. It was basically run out of the spare bedroom of our house.
That's right, we have an eyewitness who saw the beginning of this. And what he told me is that Trader's Domain was originally selling themselves as one of the good guys.
Forex has a lot of shysterness in the industry. I'm sure a lot of people are aware of that. And there's a lot of
I don't trust the good guys either. You really come down to it, I don't trust. Except me.
brokers that have bad reputations, with doing shady dealings. Ted and Dave started this operation under the premise of the good guy and honesty and being for the little guy sort of thing. Someone you
Chucky was a good guy.
could trust, which everybody bought. Ted did have a good reputation in the community.
The way they did this was they described themselves as an A-book brokerage, which I didn't really understand at the time, but basically means they were one of the legitimate ones.
Can you just explain really briefly what the difference between A book and B book are?
So A book, your orders are direct to the market, and B book, basically the broker takes the opposite side of your trade. So when you lose money, they win. Because most traders lose, so a lot of brokerages go B book because they make money off the trader. Your orders aren't actually going to the market. It's just the broker basically shanning you.
Okay, to summarize what he said real quick, because it's important. Forex brokers, which are A book, It just means that your
I
trades are
didn't know
real.
that.
B-booking
That
is when the
sounds
trades are
like
kept
bullshit to
in-house
me.
and things can be faked. They can be messed with. And this is why Ted said that his brokerage was a book. He couldn't scam you, and he claimed this repeatedly. But the question is that true? With stories of changing trades, I wasn't so sure.
And then all of a sudden, everything magically got erased. And they said, oh, the servers refreshed. We had to refresh the servers. Like that somehow changed all the trades, right?
And not only were the stories shady, when I asked the roommate about it, he told me about a very strange conversation he overheard.
It's a good way
I was
to
in
lose
my
all your
room one
emails.
day and I overheard a conversation and I thought I caught something about B booking, switching people from A book to B book. And so I asked Dave about it and he blatantly said to me, he's like, yeah, he's like, if people are going to be losing, we might as well B book them because we're just leaving money on the table. It was kind of a shock to me because that's, you know, kind of went against everything that they had sort of built this platform on. So I just didn't really know how to take that, but I just took it for what it was.
Wow, if this is true, this means their whole story is fake. But of course, claiming this is a pretty huge accusation, and I didn't want to do it on the word of just one person because it would mean that everything was built on lies and fraud. So I wanted more proof. So to do this, I set up a Discord channel to investigate Trader's Domain and invited all the victims to come share with me what they had found. And soon, many of them started sharing evidence, including a document which they said would prove that they were B-booking. These people showed me an invoice from a platform called B2Broker, addressed to Trader's Domain FX, which had a very important line item. Quote, minimum monthly payment for the use of B-book service. Why would Trader's Domain need to pay for a B-book service if they were A-book? Now, of course, we also need to talk about who is B2Broker. They call themselves a white label solution for brokerages and exchanges, which simply means they sell a brokerage product that you can slap your name on, and it appears that this is exactly what Ted Safranco did, which means that the back end of Trader's Domain and what Ted is even selling is just a rebranded product. So we'll put B2Broker on the board over here because they're going to be key to understanding this whole scam. Because as I found more of these invoices, I realized B2Broker may have helped facilitate this whole thing. All apparently for the low price of $1,000 a month for this fee. Now, what these several invoices do is not only corroborate the story the roommate was telling us about B-booking, it means that the trades and the crazy returns are all likely fake. It was all a fraud based on a software Ted himself never even built. And of course, now the question is, okay, if the trades are fake, where did the money go? Because the investment money was very much real, even if the trades were fake. We know for a fact that over $100 million was invested based on the CFTC's estimate, but based on what I have, I think it's significantly more. Either way, we're talking about an extremely large amount of cash. So it had to go somewhere. I mean, we know from our first episode that a lot of it went to this company called CCAP Holdings, but what happened after that? As I began to ask myself this question, I was contacted by an anonymous source who found out that I was investigating. As I said, I had made it public at that point, and they told me they had a friend who might know something more. Something that could, quote, show B-book activities, money laundering, and fake
There's
invoices.
always a friend.
They asked
Whoever
if I
that
was
friend
interested.
is,
Of course I was. And when this
badass.
friend
Always
got
be
in
that
touch,
friend.
they claimed to have literally 2,000 plus files and documents on Trader's Domain. I was a little skeptical at first, but when the files showed up, even I was surprised. It took me weeks to go through all the documents, but eventually, a pattern started to emerge. The more I pulled on the threads, the more I realized this was all connected. All right, I think I get it. I think I understand how Trader's Domain took in money. If you look at our old understanding of the company, we had the basics, but we're missing several things, okay? It starts with the sponsors. They were micro celebrities or influential people who were paid very well to bring in investors, money. And the more you brought in, the more you were paid, which was actually explained to me by a sponsor who had $10 million underneath him. So you've got 10 million under you that's locked up. How many does the guy above you have?
He won't even tell me, but millions. He was getting like probably $500,000 a month just in payouts. Like I was doing well out there. I was getting paid like 20,000-30,000 a month.
All right, so these sponsors would get a cut of the money that they brought in, which meant that they went out and flexed on social media to bring in more clients. Some bragged about yachts, some invited people to DM them for 10% monthly ROI deals. Either way, once the victims were on the hook, they would be instructed to go one of two payment routes. The first option was cash. They would wire money to a US-based bank like CCAP Holdings with a generic memo that said services and definitely not Forex or investments, because that would trigger red flags. And once word went out that the wire had been sent, before the money even got there, Trader's Domain would immediately credit them on the back end with fake money, which we know from interviews I did.
He would credit my account without ever having any money before I ever gave him money. You know what I mean?
So the numbers were there before you ever got.
Before I ever paid for anything.
So that day I get a Trader's Domain confirmation and it shows up in my Trader's Domain, $500,000 sitting in my account. The next day, Chase calls me and they go, "Oh, we just want to verify this is you." And I'm like, "Oh, you haven't released the wire?"
Oh my God. So they had credited your account before the money had ever hit?
Yeah, before the money had ever hit.
All right, but if the money on Trader's Domain was fake, where did the real money go? Well, I believe they had a money laundering operation to get the money offshore. This is based on a series of invoices I was given showing money being sent from onshore banks, Ted Safranco, David Negus, Tin Tran controlled, like Sag Capital, and then they would send that to offshore companies, shell companies, which were very suspicious. For example, we found invoices sending $100,000 to a company called Safe Seal Technology. Why? In another one, they sent $1 million to Discover Tour Plus. Now, this one in particular had a website, and if you go to discovertourplus.com, they claim to be a travel agency, but there's nothing to actually buy. I tried booking my own vacation, which I desperately need at this point because I'm way too deep in this investigation, but none of the links would let me book. So this website appears to just be a front for funneling millions of dollars offshore. Besides, who even pays $1 million to a travel agency if you're a Forex investment company, especially does that multiple times? Of course, the alternate explanation is that the reason you might send money from a shell company in the US to an offshore shell company is to launder that money, because then you can now declare that $1 million the travel agency took in the result of a bustling business instead of fraud. Now, that's my theory, but we have dozens of these invoices which seem to confirm it. And you might expect that this was the main way Trader's Domain moved large chunks of cash, but you'd be wrong. Because in 2023, laundering money through banks is like communicating with smoke signals instead of text messages. No, the real way to launder money has changed. Today, it's crypto. So this brings us to option 2 of how to move money. Crypto is the main way Trader's Domain moved money. It was perfect for them, and it was the main way they circumvented regulation. Recall at the beginning of this show, I told you that offshore companies couldn't solicit US investors. But Trader's Domain told people that up front. They said, quote, Trader's Domain does not solicit US clients. However, they would claim underneath that, quote, just a note, we have crypto accounts available, which is sort of like saying, hey, we don't let in US clients through the front door, but just a note, we have a back door. Because when you went to their website to sign up, I kid you not, as country of origin, you could select your country as the country of crypto, which, unsurprisingly, some people actually did.
One of the early things that felt weird to me is that you couldn't register as a U.S. citizen on his website. It was crypto. You had to go in as a crypto user. I can still show you on my account where I'm listed as a crypto user and not a U.S. citizen.
That is clearly illegal. But the reason it matters is not that they circumvented regulation. People do that all the time. It's the scale this was all happening on. This wasn't a few dollars. This is hundreds of millions. I mean, a single one of their payment processors in crypto complained in a recent lawsuit that the founder believed that, quote, the trader's domain is clearly a Ponzi scheme. They have moved over $50 million in cryptocurrency and US currency directly to the trader's domain systems. Not only that, a different payment processor also had their transaction data with trader's domain leaked to us. With the help of a blockchain intelligence company called Crystal Blockchain, we traced even more money that had come in. According to them, roughly 450 million went into trader's domain. And that combined with the 50 million.
I couldn't even imagine one going through a scheme like this, especially. That is insane.
From that other crypto payment processor is where we are.
Like, to want that much money that bad that you have to ruin people's lives. That's pure evil, in my opinion. And it's probably not even my opinion. It's probably a straight fact.
Arrived to our $500 million estimate. Now, bear in mind, this is just crypto. This is not talking about fiat here, and this is real money that went in, not fake Ponzi gains. And at this point in the investigation, I'm feeling pretty confident. We have two really big things. The first is that the scale of this thing is huge, probably bigger than even the government believes it is. But I also feel extremely confident we have proof of fraud. And the only thing left to do is confront the man behind it all, Ted Safranco.
And that's going to be part 3.
This is also the thing that I've been putting off doing the whole time, to be honest, because the entire investigation, as I spoke to people, I was warned not to reach out because Ted was well known for going after anyone who went after his brokerage. He allegedly said things like, quote, you want to come after my brokerage, you have a death wish in messages, and I am going to put a bounty on your head. There were a lot more of these, and of course, he also famously threatened people on video.
I'd take a flight to the UK right now and just fucking show up and curb stomp their heads. Yeah, I get arrested. So what? I win because they're dead.
So yeah, the guy is kind of a psycho, so I was very nervous about doing this, and so I decided to go to the bar and get me a little bit of liquid courage.
Come on, Coffee. You've been sitting here for 2 hours. Are you gonna do it or not?
Give me this one more shot, okay? And then I'll do it. Here goes nothing.
Oh, are we gonna see it?
Come on, Ted.
Come on, Ted.
I bet you he's not even gonna answer.
Answer the come on.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. Please record your message.
I knew it. That settles that. You want another drink?
I guess so.
You humans are such odd creatures. You were nervous about calling, yet you seem upset he didn't answer?
I was concerned. I mean, but once I was committed, I don't know, it just feels a little anticlimactic, I guess.
Maybe it's for the best. Not everything has a Hollywood ending. You do the best you can, and sometimes you have to enjoy a consolation prize.
This is really good.
What's that?
How about a drink with a friend?
Wait, I thought you couldn't drink.
Take the shot, Coffee.
All right.
I've been watching you hide. I just close my eyes. I've known for a while.
Dude, I'm feeling this. Oh, I'm feeling this. Oh. Coffee.
Hello?
Before we
Call them.
continue, obviously I've spoken to my counsel. We know about your YouTube channel now. We reviewed it. I mean, there's really nothing of substance on there, to be honest. I think it's more of a glorified clickbait channel.
I'm in chats right now on Telegram. He's still in there actively saying that he's trading.
You can think anything you want. You can turn around and say that I am gaming the system, I'm gaming my followers.
That is such a chicken response from a total coward. No accountability at all.
I'm the enemy of the state for most people because of what I do and how I do it.
Nobody knows anything
he
about
loves
life
being the
because
villain.
They don't have the resources that I have. My resources can find out every little thing about you. You will see the amount of destruction I leave.
This guy is a lunatic. B2 Broker was asked for comment. Here's their response. We fully support individuals who are fighting against scams and any illegal or unethical schemes. As soon as we became aware of the negative information concerning Traders Domain, we conducted a comprehensive internal compliance check, promptly terminated our agreements. Okay. I call bullshit. Well, that dude's a psycho. All right, well, I'm going to